Hi, Jason Pilgrim here from the Profitable Practice Podcast, where we help allied health professionals just like you empower and inspire the lives of so many more people by building bigger and better businesses. Let's go and get stuck in right now. For many years in the business world, we always get talked to about professional relationships, personal relationships, the difference. We get sound advice from everyone about how we've got to keep them separate, and those old school days of not even being friends or having personal relationships with your staff, etc. Well, I'm going to explode those myths right now and show you exactly how you need to best manage your personal relationships and your professional relationships, and how intertwined and important they are with all of your team members. So I'm going to draw a line in the sand first and foremost and explode that myth, the absolute BS around that whole commentary that has been told to us and taught to us for many years around the fact that you can't be friends with your staff. I mean, I don't like to call them staff. They shouldn't be called staff. They should be team members. You should be firing your staff and hiring a team first and foremost. But for many years, I remember my very first employer used to always say to me, we might want to go out to grab a pizza after work finished. We might want to go out and grab a couple of quiet beer afterwards. And he would always say no. And Craig would always be no, based on the fact that you can't be friends with your employees, because that's what he'd always been told, and that was what he was trying to tell us. That for some reason it would be showing a blurring of the professional boundaries and professional respect if the manager or the business owner was friends or socialized with with their team and employees and things like that. Well, let's just explode that right here and right now, because that's a load of crap. It's a load of absolute BS. That's bullshit. There's no other way to put it. It's something that doesn't hold any weight, and there's no avenues for anyone to be able to show how being completely remiss of any type of personal relationship with any employee, team member, staff, whatever you want to call it, is beneficial for you or the business moving forward. Now, we all know that personal relationships and professional relationships are vitally important, but to be totally honest, we have to be very, very clear about this. We can't have separate personal and professional relationships that aren't intertwined. And what I mean by that is you can't ultimately, in business, just have a professional relationship with someone. There has to be a varying level of personal approach to that relationship. So I was actually chatting about this exact topic, which is why I wanted to cut a podcast about it. But I was chatting with three very good colleagues of mine overseas today, and all three of them are in America and myself in Australia, and we were having a good chat about it. And Matty actually said, he turned around and he literally just said, anyone who thinks that a personal relationship and a professional relationship are completely separate is absolutely ignorant of the real world. Now, it's a pretty strong statement, and it made me stop and think. And we got chatting in quite a lot of depth. And what the rationale is completely and fundamentally true and accurate. You can't have a strictly professional relationship with an employee, team member, etc., without having a level of personal relationship there as well. Now, if we take it from a slightly different angle, and we're really open and honest with ourselves about whether we have personal relationships with all of our professional relationships, then the answer is always going to be yes. We always lead out conversations personally before we move into professional circumstances. We always talk about having the right cultural fits when we do hiring. We make sure that we, emphasize the team and how the team works together. We hear all this advice about team building and cultural alignment and how the team culture improved when we did this, aligning our values, getting the right vision statements, understanding our finish line and the end point of what we're doing, getting KPIs, KPAs, all of these scenarios. It's all based around the fact that we have a professional relationship, but every angle of that is based on a personal approach. I mean, when I do my coaching, I literally tell people, whether you like it or not, I'm not going to coach you professionally. I'm going to help build you personally and professionally, because we know you can't be a better professional, have a better professional angle to what you do, or do more professionally in a better way without first being a better person. So we know, and science has proved it, we have to be better personally and we have to grow personally before we can get better and grow professionally. So once we fundamentally understand that and accept that, and we can't not, then we must also, 1 + 1 = 2. So if you must grow personally and get better personally before you can grow and get better professionally, then we must know that growing someone personally and professionally is one and the same. And they are joined at the hip and we can't separate them. And the second big part about this, if you've completely flipped this mentality and think about times where you've had to walk into a professional conversation, maybe it's you having to lead one of those crucial conversations and it's around someone who's underperforming or something like that. If you just go into that conversation in a professional sense and it's just all about business, and there's no icebreakers, there's no social commentary, there's no personal comments or questions or discussion at the start, every single time we will know that there'll be resistance. People will react in a negative frame. People's behavior will be, they'll sit down, they'll fold their arms, they're waiting to, get in trouble. Because what actually happens is when we approach things just from a professional standpoint, it becomes very cold. There's a particular way that we act with our behavior. There's a certain tonality in our voice of what's been said and done. And that's where perception becomes reality. The perception from that person, that team member that's going into that professional only discussion, is innately set up to know that this is not good. It's a negative situation. They will perceive that something bad is going to happen, or they're going to get into an argument, or they're going to get criticized. And so as a net result, up goes their barriers, up goes the wall. You won't get open and honest communication. So even if you're trying to have a professional discussion and maybe not criticize or whinge at them, but instead you're trying to have a crucial conversation and ask more questions to better understand and improve a difficult or challenging situation, you've already predisposed that conversation to not having openness or transparency, because we didn't actually get to that trust level and that personal level because we just went in with a professional approach. And all of this is totally backed up by, 30 years of work with people like Ari Galper and the way in which trust-based selling happens. There must be a relationship. You must get to trust before people are open and honest and communicable in that way. So the whole scenario here is, if we're going to be talking to our team in positive light, negative light, or any scenario, any factual aspect that you try and believe that you can just do this from a professional sense is completely wrong, to put it out there. I have to be honest and I have to be drawing a line in the sand, but we must have a strong and solid personal relationship with every single one of our team members. Now, that's also not saying that we have to have really strong, close, intimate relationships. That's far from what I'm saying. We don't need to have anything that's intimate or sexual or anything like that. It's actually the ability to just know them, to just have an avenue to talk to them, to be able to get to know them. Maybe it's the fact that you know about their partner, or you know their interests. You know that they have a new puppy, and you can just open up a conversation by, how's the toilet training going with Rex? Whatever it happens to be, you must always lead with personal before we address professional. We must have enough personal respect and knowledge and understanding and relationship before we can get any type of betterment or growth in someone's professional ability as well. And so always leading off in all of your discussions, all of your meetings, your one-on-ones, team meetings from a personal avenue is always going to leave you in better stead to have a better connection, better communication, and be able to ultimately better manage the way in which you personally and professionally work with and align with each of your team members. It's just like the Zulu tribes. They can walk for days on end, maybe not see another tribe for months, and they will walk up to each other. They won't wave and smile. They'll literally walk up, almost touching noses. They'll look deep into each other's eyes, and one of them will say, Sawubona. And what that ultimately means, it literally means, I respect you. Sorry, it literally means I see you, I respect you, and acknowledge you for who you are. Now think about that. If that's what the first intent and the first words that you hear are in that relationship and that greeting. And the person on the other side of that conversation would say Sikobona, which literally turns around and says, I am here. When you see me, you bring me into existence. Now, I don't want to get all woo-woo here, but think of how powerful that is and how simple that is by being personal in the approach. The initial greeting, the tonality, what they say, they're literally saying that I see you. It's not just like I see you, I actually see you. And, you know, I respect you. Until I saw you, you never came into existence. You know, it's powerful that the Northern Natal people and the Zulus, etc., have used for years. And it's exactly the same as how we should be starting our conversations with all of our team members. Not now walking in with tribal dances and clothing saying, Sawubona. I mean, we could. Hey, it'd be fun, right? But it's about the fact that we need to lead with acknowledgement, respect, work the personal relationship first and foremost if we're wanting people to be open and honest and transparent. So think about it from now. What can you be doing to make sure that you work and better manage all of your personal relationships, not in a sexual, intimate way, but so that you know people more. You see them. They understand that they're being seen and heard. It's their time. It's just a simple acknowledgement of maybe a few words. Because without working the personal relationship, you can't get someone better or grow professionally without that in place. So we shouldn't be keeping personal relationships and professional relationships apart because they are one in itself, one in the same. We need to work them both together. We need to make sure that we always lead and start with the personal relationships, work on that honesty, that trust, that openness, get to that level of communication very quickly and easily before we try and work on the professional side of our communication. Hope that helps. Go and make it about the personal side always before the professional so that they intertwine and you can get better and get more growth personally and professionally with yourself, your team, and all the people that you employ. I'll talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.